This is our Forex blog for April 30th, 2012. And if you've never seen this before, this is our currency meter. We statistically compare every currency to every other one. And this is our new currency meter that works live only. So when I bring it up, it starts keeping track of statistically which ones are strongest and weakest. We use the Build Your Own Trend statistical tool, so you can customize this to fit your style. Certain of our best statistical tools measure the percentage of, for instance, dollar pairs going up like it did today. What percentage of dollar pairs are going up? How, it's pretty much it went up today against the majority of pairs, but not 100% of the pairs. And we also statistically show the intensity. So we average those together into a very easy to read histogram on there. Underneath that, we show the percentage of currencies trending up on the 15-minute chart and hourly chart. Underneath that's the daily, weekly, monthly. So ideally, you can see the dollar and the yen were strong today, but the daily, weekly, monthly trend of the yen is very strong, and the dollar was down. It, later in the day, because it takes it a while to change from a downtrend to an uptrend, the longer the time frame goes out. Real trends change first on the real time, then the 15, then the hourly, then the daily, weekly, monthly. So if you want to increase your odds and stack the odds in your favor, you want to buy today the yen, you want to buy the pound earlier in the day when it was showing incredible intensity because all the longer time frame trends were also up, and you want to trade the yen against the weakest one. The New Zealand was relatively weak, the Australian, the Swiss, and with the exception of these two little brief bursts right here of strength, when the weakness hit the 80 level, that's considered extreme. Most of the longer time frame trends are down here. You can see right at 356 coming up to 4. 4 would be a good time, for instance, to be looking for sells in the euro yen. So let's bring that chart up and start with that. A lot of people like the euro yen. Notice first that this price is underneath the hourly. And today was a relatively low volatility day, but you can see here's right around 4 right here. At this point, you're starting to look for some sells. I like to look for on the range charts 3 to 5 bars and sometimes up to 8 bars of green. The first signal you get is when you get a red bar, and you sell it when it goes 1 pip underneath there. So that would be right here at 14. You can see it came all the way down to at 99. It only fell 14 pips. If you use our trailing stop, you pretty much got out of this with a 4 or 5 pip loss. But you can see later, an hour and a half later, you can see the trend continue. And most of the time, these Fibonacci profit target levels that I come up with, especially if they're at or underneath the lower white containment band, tend to be, the end of the move. If you're a pure scalper, you can look for pullbacks like this, go short, and just simply draw your trend lines underneath the bars, and you have a small profit there. You'd be short, out, short, probably out with pretty much a break even, short when it breaks down through the low, out with 5 or 6 pips, short here, 15 to 25 pips there, short here, maybe even made 15 pips on there, short here. And you also always want to draw your fibs. Most of the time, especially the bigger the swing, the more likely these fib targets are to be the maximum end of the move. Last night was a relatively low volatility day with the vast majority of the currency pairs. Oftentimes, you'll find 30 to 50 pip moves using our currency. The Australian was also weak, although it had 1 bar of extreme weakness right here, and for the most part just mild weakness until, again, at this point right here, around 5:19 in the morning. The 15 and hourly trends were down most of the day. The daily trend was down. The monthly trend was up. Sometimes the weekly trend's up. The monthly trend's down. The weekly trend was up. So the majority of the trends were down. You trade this against the strongest yen, Australian yen, you're looking to sell. And you can see on this chart, it's underneath the hourly, goes down, down. This is probably a 25 pip move. You have a nice little pullback right here. This is not a range chart. Most of the time I don't show Australian pairs in our blog videos. And you can see it fell again from 83.50 all the way to 83. 50 pip move. Now, earlier in the day when the pound was strong, you could also trade that against the weak New Zealand and Australian. This is a chart that I don't leave running, so we're going to bring this up. Pound, Australian, strong pound, weak Australian, and basically you're looking for buys. You can see it went from 55.65 all the way up to 05. Not a very big pip move. Again, today was a relatively dead day. However, having the currency meter gives you the direction to trade it. At least you're looking for buys in this currency. Here you can see the CAD became extremely weak, real time, then the 15, the hourly switched, the daily switched soon after, the weekly also. So this is a very weak currency right here, especially 821. The strongest one is the yen. A lot of times, especially when there's not much momentum either way, when you see something like this where most of the time frames change from up to down, that's something significant happen. That's a trend that's likely to continue, usually for 3 to 5 hours, and it doesn't usually go down all the way. It'll go down 15 to 35, 40 pips, up 10 or 15 pips, down 10 to 15 or 20 pips, up 5 or 10 pips. Typically they don't go one way forever. You can see the pound started to have some weakness come in, a little bit of weakness, strength, and that's how the markets typically work. Even the strong yen, strength, a little bit of weakness, a little bit less strength, weakness, some strength came in, less weakness. And when you see, more strength than weakness, that more strength is likely to continue. Your odds of it continuing are significantly higher if the 15, hourly, daily, weekly, monthly are also up, which you can see, the yen became really strong again right here around 7:30 in the morning. So let's look at the CAD yen, especially around 8:15. Weak CAD, strong yen. Here's 8:15 right here. So that's when you really started to get these extreme weakness moves. Notice actually right here at 8 o'clock on this chart, it was showing a lot of weakness. And this is kind of a sideways range pattern right here. Fell from 81.50 down 90 pips. So as you can see today, even the lower volatility ones pretty much continued to trend in the direction our currency meter, for lack of a better term, kind of predicted. It's not in effect predicting it, it's just showing you what the statistics are saying. And statistics, especially when it comes to momentum and velocity of momentum, if the CAD's going down against every other pair out there, and the yen is going up against every other pair out there, the CAD's the weakest, the yen's the strongest, and this is what typically happens most days, or at least 4 days out of the week. When you find a super strong one and a super weak one, you're typically going to get some continuation. The lower green containment band is our 3.0 containment band. Usually it does not go underneath this level, and when it does, it very quickly reverses. So if you see it go down to this level, it's not a bad idea to just get out of your trade here at 77. You missed an extra 13 pips, but you can see very quickly within 2 hours it came back up and reversed. That's what almost always happens at the 3.0 green band.